hello, this is Dr. James, and today I'm going to talk about the installation of this battery onto my electric bike here. And I had a few issues with it, so I'll talk a little bit about that. And actually got another battery here, I'm doing another conversion, and this one didn't have some of the problems that this one had, but I showed how to fix the problems if you happen to get it. You know, sometimes things come from China, they're not manufactured properly, but it's just a minor thing. So let's go through, we'll get started on this. So this will be part 3, and then part 4 I'll do the motor controller. I'll talk about how to hook up all the wires and the complicated stuff. Okay, so let's get going. It's going to be fun. Okay, so it looks like it has finally arrived. And let's see what this guy has. It's kind of heavy. And oh, look at that. It's our battery, look at that, oh my gosh. Wow. It's our bike battery. Wow. Okay, we'll be all set to make our electric bike now. Okay, so there is the battery. Very cool, huh? It's really heavy. Wow. And here's some of the supporting parts in here. Looks like. Oh, that's a charger, it looks like. Okay, so there's a charger. Okay. Looks like the power plug and some auxiliary connectors are in here. Very cool. Okay, so there's the power plug. It's got a key also. Maybe that key is to lock it down. Okay, key, and I don't know what this plastic thing is. Some auxiliary connectors. Another plastic thing. That must be for mounting it to the bike, I guess. Very cool. Wow. Okay, I think we're all set now to start building our electric bike. Very awesome. Okay, so we got a scales here, and let's see how much this battery weighs, just out of curiosity. Okay, so there's our battery. We'll put it on the scales. Okay, so that looks like that is about 8 pounds. Okay. So this battery here weighs about 8 pounds, it looks like. I guess not too bad. Okay, so let's try. Let's just try testing the voltage on this battery, and let's take a look here. Okay, so we have our battery, and I have a voltmeter here, and let's just hook the voltmeter up to these leads over here, like so. Oh, come on. leads, and there's some contacts in there, so you can stick the probes in there, like so. Okay, and I'm not really getting any voltage. Well, I'm getting a little bit of voltage out of it, but what I found is that there's a, here, look at the battery. There's a little switch here, so when I switch that switch, the voltage goes up to about 50 volts. Almost 50, supposed to be 48 volts, I guess. So it looks like maybe our battery is putting out power. Very cool, huh? Okay, so I've been looking at how to mount this battery here. There's our battery to our bicycle. And I think probably these two bolt holes here can mount onto this thing down here. But I'm not sure. I think the way you have to get into it is you have to undo the key here. I think that unlocks it. And so this battery actually came with a couple of keys. And let's see if we can unlock this lower part. Okay. So we can, oh, maybe that locked it. Huh. So there's a pin there that comes in and out. Okay, maybe that's unlocked. Let's see, how do we get this out of here? Let me fiddle with it for a second. Okay, so I guess when this is locked, that pin is down, so you can't slide this. But if you pull really hard, here, okay, this whole thing slides back. And you can take this off, and it looks like you can mount that to these bolts under the bike here. Let's see if we can do that and get the battery hooked up. Very cool, huh? Okay, so I had disconnected this from our motor controller because no need to have that hooked up while we're trying to fiddle with this. Okay, and hopefully this battery is going to fit on here. Looks like there's some play as to, like, this metal piece here can slide around. And I heard some people complaining, let's get a broader view of this, that their battery wouldn't fit on their bike, so that's something to watch out for. And let's see, I probably should put some washers on these. Will these fit on there without washers? Looks like they will. It'd probably be better to have a washer on there. I don't think I have any washers here right now, so I'll just do a temporary thing. Temporary / permanent. Okay, so we'll get that on there. And we'll mount this onto the bike here. And get the screws screwed in. Okay. We got one on there. And I'll get the other screw in. I think I'm going to try to position the battery down. Let's see. Get those screws lined up. Okay, there we go. Looks like, because the battery is kind of thick, let's get the screw in first. The battery is kind of thick at this end, so I'm going to try to position these things down as far as I can possibly get them. And hopefully the battery will fit in there without having to modify the frame or something. This could be a bad situation if it doesn't fit. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so it looks like worst scenario is possibly true. Looks like it's not fitting because it's hitting the frame here. These bolts are a little bit too high. Okay, so we might have a problem here getting this battery on this bike. Let me see if I can finagle with this a little bit and get this to fit in there. Okay, I just wanted to check. Part of the problem might be these screws are too thick. I just wanted to test fit them in there. And it doesn't seem like it's able to latch closed. Here, let's take a look here. With those screws in there, let's take them. So these are the screws from my bike, and they have kind of thick heads on them. So maybe I need to get some different screws to stick in there. Let's take a look. If I take these out of there, I'm able to get this thing to latch. It's not easy, but get it lined up. Oh, yeah, it's not easy to get in there. It seemed like I was able to get at the latch though a little bit ago. Come on. Wow, this thing. Okay. Well, maybe this metal part slid back. Maybe that's the problem. That metal part slides back. It doesn't latch very well. Okay, let me retest fit it with the bolts and see if I can get the bolts in there. Because that metal part's got to be slid in the proper position, I guess. Okay. Now, let's see. I got that metal part slid all the way forward, and it's not latching. I suspect those bolt heads are too thick. So I will maybe have to try to find some replacement bolts for those with thinner heads on them. And maybe that will solve our problem. Okay, so I found some screws with some thinner heads. They're a lot thinner than those other ones. Those other ones had really high heads. I figured that they would fit into, let's take a look here. This thing, this battery thing. And I'm still not able to get these to fit. Let's try one. Can't even get one to fit because it's still too thick. Not sure if I'm going to have to get some kind of special screw or what. It seems like there's not a lot of clearance between this metal thing here and the base of the battery. See, it's even scratching up this base here because there's not enough room to get these frickin' screws in there. It's really annoying. And these screws are actually too short. They won't be able to hold this and go into the threads of the bike. So I'm going to have to get some different screws, I think, because these are definitely not doing the job. I'm not sure why they made the clearance so low on this battery, because that's making it impossible to mount this thing. Okay. Okay, so I guess the standard screw size for the screws that go into these bikes are M5-.08. Okay, so I got a couple more screws, hopefully with most shallow heads on them. We'll see if they'll fit on this thing. First, let me test them in the bike to make sure the threads are right, because that's what the internet said, but should test it out first to make sure. Okay, so it looks like this screw fits in there okay. And hopefully it's not too long. It's a lot longer than these other screws that I had in there. But those are too short. Okay, so let's test it inside of this guy and see if he'll close up with those in it. Oh, I almost suspect that this metal bracket is upside down. It seems like if it was flipped the other way, I'd have a lot more clearance. It's got clearance on the bottom where I don't need it. There's not enough clearance for the screws to go here on the top. If I could flip that over, I bet this whole thing would work. It'd probably be easier. I don't know what would be easier, flipping that over or trying to grind down the screws, because there's really almost no clearance. See, it's chewing up the plastic here. It's really annoying. Okay, so I've been looking at this, and looks like if I undo these screws here, this thing can slide out. There's no other way to get it out. And then I can flip this thing over, and those screws should fit, because they'd have a lot more clearance if that was flipped over. So I suspect this thing was just assembled incorrectly. Let me get these 3 screws out and see if I can pull this thing apart and flip that metal piece over. Okay, so I loosened up these 3 screws, and I suspect this plug holder thing should come out of there. Hopefully without springs flying all over the place. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now I can slide this stupid metal piece out and flip it over so it's actually possible to stick screws in there because there's no clearance. So I think that someone just assembled this backwards incorrectly. And then, that was a simple fix. We'll put this plug thing back on here. Flip her over and put the screws back in. Okay. And then we'll see if we can get this on the bike after this adjustment. See, now there's a lot more clearance here. Look at that. Okay, I think that was assembled incorrectly. So we're reassembling it here in America. Okay. Okay, so let's put our screws back in there. Let's test fit this. Okay, let's try to fit our screws in there and test fit this to make sure it's going to work. Okay. And put that on there. And look at that, it definitely closes up all the way now. So that was definitely the problem. It has a lot more clearance now that it's assembled properly. So the next thing we need to do is try to fit it up on the bike. And I'm not sure if it's going to fit. I may have to router out some of this plastic so it has more travel, but it's definitely going to have a better chance of fitting now that it's assembled properly. Okay, so let me try to get this thing back off. And we'll try test fitting this on the bike to see if we can get the battery into place up here. Okay. Get it up like that. Okay, so I got the screws in there. I'm just gonna, these are a little bit longer than what I probably need, but I'll try to get these in and tightened up a little bit. And then let's see if this can position to where I need the battery to fit. See, it can only slide down that far because it's hitting the plastic in there. But we'll see if that's enough clearance to get this battery in there. It's going to be really close. Okay, so there we have it. And I'll just tighten these screws up. Get this mounted on the bike like so. Okay. And the battery. And let's see if we can get this to fit in there. Oh gosh. See, it's really, really tight to fit. I don't know if it's going to fit, but let me fiddle with that. See if I can get it. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's going to be tight if it even fits. No. Yeah, see, so it's not getting latched up there because this is hitting, this battery up here is hitting on the bike, and it's got about an inch overlap. So these bolts really need to be about an inch lower that way. So I'm not sure what to do about that. See if I can get this thing out of here. Okay, so it's not easy to get in there and out either because it's so tight. Oh gosh. Okay. What I did is I shifted this whole thing down one whole screw hole. So I put the top one on this and the bottom screw hole. So there's no screw hole down here. And the other screw hole is around here. which it may be possible for me to drill a hole in the plastic and put my other screw right through the plastic here to hold this in place. But let me just test fit the battery in this position to see if this is even feasible. Okay. Okay, so what I want to do is the slot needs to go up a little bit further. I'm going to modify this battery holder because I need to move this battery in a position where I can get the battery in and out of the bike and have it not rub against the frame. And so I have a Dremel tool here. I'm going to try to maybe move the aluminum up so it doesn't interfere and try to cut this plastic a little bit on both this slot and that slot, maybe like between 1/4 and 1/2 inch up. Okay. Okay, so let me work on that for a little bit, and we'll see if we can cut these slots out so I can move the screw up a little bit higher. Okay. Okay, that seems to be working pretty good. We have to clean that up a little bit because the plastic's all getting melded and bunched up here. And I'll do that with the other slot as well. I don't think there's any risk of hitting battery. It looks like it's all plastic all the way up in there. So we'll extend the slots and then see if we can fit this on the bike where we want it to. Get the battery in and out. Okay. Very cool, huh? Okay, so how is that for a hack and slash job with our Dremel tool here? Okay, it looks like the holes are pretty much clear with this slid all the way in the forward position. Okay, and hopefully I didn't degrade the mechanical integrity of this guy too much. And hopefully this is going to not interfere when I slide that little aluminum thing that far forward with the battery plug up here, because I know when it goes too far forward you can't slide the battery in. So we'll see if we can fit this on the bike and get it in a good position now. Okay. Okay, so let's get this mounted back on the bike here, and I'll get these screws out and through those slots, and we will see how this fits. Should be interesting. Okay. And I'll get this mounted back up there. Okay. Okay. I got these screws in there. It looks like, see that? We're able to get travel all the way up into that slot I just cut. Okay. So we can move this battery thing back further. I think it's back far enough for us to mount the battery without interfering. So let's get that in place and see if that works. Okay. Okay, so here is the mounting bracket, and I got all the screws kind of tightened up. And I think it's going to fit. Let's take a look here. This is, oh gosh, a really tight fit. But I get it into place. And there we go. It's on there. And I just need to slide this up so that that can lock into position. It's really tight. I think I'm going to have to slide this back a little bit. This mounting bar, because it's not quite in the locking position. That hole's got to line up with that pin, and then we can lock the battery on. Okay. I slid this part back a little bit, and I think we're close to being able to lock this battery in. Let's see, I'll put the key in there. No, it's not quite as close. See the pin? It's got to go through that hole there. Okay, let me fiddle with it a little bit more and see if we can get that locked in. Okay, it wasn't easy, but here, let's take a look. Looks like, okay, there, see? That pin, it's got that battery locked in. So now no one can take the battery off your bike. It's all fixed in there. So I think we got the battery all set. Very cool, huh? I should give this a test, make sure the whole system's still working. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Let's get our motor controller a little bit close to where it's got to hook into the battery. And we have our plugs here. Black goes to black. You don't want to reverse these, that's for sure. I did that before, and that's why I blew up my other motor controller. Okay. And where's red? Red goes to red. Okay. Okay. And I guess let's turn the key on. Oh, we're not getting any power. Okay, I'll have to fiddle with this some. Okay, remember there's a switch on the battery too that we got to turn on. Where is that? What's over here? Okay, there we go. Now we got power. Okay. Let's try turning on the motor. We got our battery mounted up and the motor's working. Very cool, huh? Okay, so I think we're all set to maybe try to mount our motor controller on next. Okay, so we got our battery charger here hooked up to the wall. And it took me a while to figure out where the charger port was, but it is under this circle thing here. Okay, so there's our charger. Okay. And we'll get it plugged in there and get it charging up. Okay, there we go. Now our battery's already on the bike. Very cool, huh? And so the light is red, and I suspect it will turn green when the thing's fully charged. It's a 48 volt battery for the bike. Okay. Very cool. Okay, looks like the light is turning green on the charger. And so that means our battery is now charged up. So I don't want to overcharge this. Not sure if it's possible, but I know some lithium ion batteries I've overcharged and they stopped working. So very cool. There we go. Our bike is ready to go.